Hello. If you're getting this message, it's likely been a little while. In all honesty, I haven't practiced therapy for 8 months, so even if you were my most recent client, it's been a little while. Some of you I saw in Vegas. Only 95 men are watching this video. That is not the total number of men I have met over the past 7 years. 95 of you I felt were fighting the good fight, trying to overcome and become the men you were meant to be. You, like me, have struggled with behaviors you don't want. You've experienced things that have affected you negatively. Your marriage has had struggles in probably all areas like mine. If you list out all the negative emotions, we've felt them. Some of them so often it feels like it's a part of us. Shame, like a constant companion. Anger, always right there, ready to erupt. I'm sending you this because I want to let you in on the journey I've been on a little more. Most of you know that I've struggled with my own addiction, had good progress, and made a lot of effort to change my marriage and to become a better father. And I'm happy to say it's much closer now than it ever has been. In fact, the past year and a half, my marriage stays in a pretty good spot 99% of the time. And when we do get off track a little, it's a little, and we're able to repair it. Coming from where we were, where it was weeks of fighting, months of not being sexual, her being unsafe, not trusting me, just it was hard. A lot of you experienced similar things. So I'm grateful for the journey. It's been hard. It wasn't what I planned. When I got married, I thought, oh, I'm in love with this girl. We're just having this amazing life. I'm going to come through for her and just be this amazing man. And pretty quickly there, I realized, whoa, I'm not meeting this woman's needs, even though I'm trying, and I am making a mess. And I wasn't even into the addiction at that point. Like, that didn't come till 3 years later, where I started to turn to porn and hiding it and, lying. But those first 3 years, we were fighting primarily about sex. Other things too, but sex was the main source of contention. I would manipulate and just be mad, and that guy was a wean. I'm not him anymore. I don't carry that shame. That's not who I am now. And that's not who I was meant to be, and I understand the reasons how I got there, but it's interesting. I entered into this recovery journey, and now, 8 years later, I realize so much of what I did, even so much of what I taught in therapy, may be helpful, but there's so much better ways. I realize that our focus on the negative does not get us to the positive. Some of you have seen this concept. I kind of drew this out in regards to relationships, but I'm going to talk about it personally for a second. So this is like baseline life. This is where a lot of us have been: angry, addicted, insecure, anxious, manipulative, lying, whatever, right? We've done things that we're not proud of. And we focused all this time on God, can we just stop doing the negative? Can we stop destroying our lives, right? Building it up and then burning it down again, right? So what we've all been after is this. This is us being the men we're supposed to be. Strong, confident, knowing how to take that strength into the relationships with those we love. If you look at this on a relationship scale, this is like baseline. She marries us. Don't betray me. Don't cheat on me. Don't watch other women naked. Don't swear at me, whatever, right? And what we do is we focus on getting out of that. But that doesn't equal connection. Stopping this doesn't equal happy marriage. What we need to be focusing on is the steps up to here. Becoming the man we are supposed to be, capturing our strength. And when we're feeling strong and connected, none of this matters. It doesn't happen. And when it does happen, a little bit, because life, we have emotions, right? It's not like she gets upset because I did the dishes wrong, something this big, and we bring all of our crap from the past, and we go, "Roar! Oh, I'm an angry monster, how dare you!" And we create this big fight. Or we shut down for 3 days and don't talk to her because she talked to us about the dishes. Is that just me? Am I the only one? Right? We carry all this emotion that has nothing to do with today, and it becomes big. And then we make messes of our lives. Or something emotional happens that's uncomfortable. We trigger and we go to something that numbs us, that helps us escape. Our conscious mind knows we don't want it, but we are not connected to our conscious mind in those moments. We're impulsive and we trigger. What I've been looking at is, how do we change those unwanted thoughts, unwanted emotions, unwanted behaviors? Clearly, I'm not the first one to study this. But what unique thing I've had as a therapist is I am trained as a couples therapist in the top couples therapy. I am now trained as a trauma therapist in the top trauma therapies. I'm also trained in neuroscience. I left the clinic I was at, Addo Recovery, about 1.5 years, which is widely considered the top betrayal trauma clinic in the country. Obviously still working with guys struggling with addiction. And I left that clinic because I realized we were doing maybe more harm than good focusing on the trauma and the addiction. Those things need to heal, but the focus on them deepens it. Because you guys know the addiction is a symptom of something else. To be honest, our emotions are even a symptom. The way that it works is event happens. We run that through a filter, which is our perception, and we have a thought. That thought creates a chemical response in our body, which then creates the emotion. And when we feel an emotion, we then go to a behavior. Many of you know this, but so often what we happen is stop the behavior. Manage the emotion. Mindfulness, manage. Emotional regulation, manage. Yoga, manage. Exercise, manage. It's a symptom. How do we not have the emotion, and how do we not have it so big? Right? Like if my dog dies, sadness is appropriate. However, my dog dying shouldn't be the type of sadness that is depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts, right? If someone cuts me off in traffic and I go into that fight or flight mode, fear, then anger is not uncommon. Being so angry that I want to beat them up, that event is not that big, right? So we carry a string of emotions that comes out, and anytime we're angry, it's too big of anger. Anytime we're sad or anxious, it's too big. What we need to get to is this, and really we need to change this filter. There's a way to release those thoughts. Now, these aren't conscious thoughts, right? I'm not thinking, hey, I want to dump this chemical that causes me to feel anger or sadness or whatever, right? It's interesting. I read a quote recently that said, the only emotion is love. Everything else is a derivative of fear and is an illusion. We fear so much more than we need to, right? We interpret when my wife says, hey, can you drive a little better? We interpret that as meaning she doesn't love us anymore. And like that, we're angry and we don't even know why. And she's like, just asked if you could use your blinker. Like, not a big deal, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. So, anyways, the point of this is, I've been searching for how do we actually get where we want to go. You guys, like me, have done so much work and made progress. I'm sure you've made progress, both in your relationships and as a man. But isn't there a way just to get there and like be happy most of the time? Be connected most of the time? Be strong? Be confident most of the time? The answer is yes. What I've been looking for is how do we do that faster? My journey was like 8 years of work, and life requires work, obviously. But a lot of the work I was doing didn't bring the results I was hoping for. I saw 8 therapists in total, a year and a half in 12-step, a year and a half in a Lifestar group, became a therapist, became the director of 2 clinics, specialized in different areas, and about a year and a half ago, my marriage started to be consistently good. And realistically, 7 months ago, I finally had a breakthrough with my kids where I don't trigger the way I used to. I don't get angry. I don't get reactive. And it's always a process. Like, honestly, I was searching for a magic pill for a long time, both for myself and for my clients. I realized there's no magic pill. It's going to be a journey. But that journey shouldn't be like we're wandering around looking for the right path. I wanted to create a path that's direct. How do we get from point A, which might be down here, or point A might be right here, to point B, up here? Rise Week is all about getting up here. It's about breaking through these thoughts and helping you know how to keep them away, where you don't even believe them anymore. You're not managing those thoughts. Okay, you're not like wrestling with your shame and trying to talk yourself out of it. Rise Week is about helping you not think that way anymore. If the belief is I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable enough, I'm not strong enough, maybe it's something limiting. I can't succeed in work. I can't get my wife to be intimate with me. I can't come through with my kids. Whatever those thoughts are, we break through it. 4 days, we break through it. And then after that, we reinforce that breakthrough every day. Let me tell you a little bit more about Rise Week. Actually, let me tell you a little bit about the Daily Rise. I'm really excited about the Daily Rise. I left Addo almost 2 years ago because I had this idea to build an app. I had recently seen a couple that flew in from Norway, and they said, our whole country's addicted to porn, and none of the therapists know what to do. And nobody knows how to help our marriage. And at that point, I was like, man, we don't have it all figured out, but people are healing. At that point, 2 years ago, I was working with couples and I was helping them reconnect. Many couples were like getting it. They were healing much quicker than me and my wife had. And I was like, hey, we know how to do this. It still takes a while, 2-3 years for some, but at least we got it. There's got to be a way to get this information out in a better way. So I decided to start working on this app. And I laid it out. It was going to be the best addiction recovery app ever. And worked a lot of hours on it. Long time, almost 8 months, 9 months. And when it came down to it, it was going to be $250,000 to build the app and $100,000 probably to start to market it. And I actually had an investor interested, willing to give me the money. But something didn't feel quite right. I still had some questions. Is this the best we can offer people? Helping them cope, helping them have a little bit of hope to keep fighting. Or is there a way to just really eliminate this, the addiction and everything that goes with it? Now, my journey real quickly is, when I look back, it's frustrating because everything negative about me was lumped into my addiction. And I now know a lot of those things had nothing to do with my addiction. But it reinforced this belief that I'm just an addict. I don't believe that anymore. I don't believe I'm an addict. I don't call myself a recovering addict. I don't read recovery books. I don't go to recovery groups. I was addicted. I know what it's like to be addicted. A lot of people think they're addicted that aren't, to be honest. A lot of you guys stopped acting out with much less struggle than I had. It's not to minimize the behavior, but addiction is like you can't get it together. Addiction is a trigger in the brain that causes you to want a behavior to escape pain and to maximize pleasure. That's what it is. It's not your anger. It's not your fights with your wife. It's not even your lies. It's not your shame. Those things are different than your addiction. I don't consider myself an addict. I have been addicted. I know what that's like. I'm not addicted anymore. And I refuse to define the rest of my life by something that was in my past. I could relapse tomorrow. Guess what? I'm not going to call myself an addict because that doesn't help me. I'm going to learn from it and keep going. But I don't feel pulled. I worked hard to get through that. Now, I still have a brain that can trigger. I still have a spirit that can be tempted. But I don't think you're an addict, and I don't think I'm an addict. And what's even better is my wife doesn't look at me that way. She doesn't consider herself a betrayal trauma wife. She doesn't consider herself married to an addict. She sees me. She knows who I've become. And she knows that who I was being during those years of struggle was not me. It was an attempt to take me out from the man I could become. And I believe that for you as well. For those of you that are spiritual, there's something after your marriage trying to stop you from becoming who you can be and having what you can have in your relationships. For those of you that don't believe in spiritual things, my belief is the same is still true. There are opposing forces in the world. Good, bad, right? Hot, cold. Like, there's these opposing forces. So you try to do good, bad will show up. I don't want to get into that too much here. The point is, we don't have to define ourselves by the past. We are not the past. I sent this message to you because I have seen your strength. It is hard to man up and admit I made a mess. I'm not where I want to be, and to fight to become something more. I know the difficulty I've had in my journey, and some of you might be better than I am, or have gotten there quicker. What I can tell you is life will continue to come. Rise Week is meant to give us a very powerful experience that counters whatever negative has happened in the past. Some of you have experienced horrible traumas, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. And what came from those traumas or neglect or whatever is we start to filter our beliefs about ourselves through those young eyes. We start to take on these limiting negative beliefs, the shame. Rise Week is built to break through that. You come to Rise Week, only able to help 20 at a time. Rise Week is every month. 4 days, all inclusive. Feed you. You get to stay there. We have fun. It's not just like some therapy training. This is about you experiencing your strength. You will be tested physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. You will confront some of the things that aren't working in your marriage. You will stop accepting being mediocre and having a mundane marriage. You will rise to become the elite man that you are. And the way that I know that you're elite, because you're not the only one who has been addicted, but you are one who has fought. Most of the world's addicted at this point, to be honest with you, men and women. It might not be to sex, it might not be to porn, it might not even be to drugs. It's to Facebook. It's to getting validation from other people. It's from numbing out to Netflix or Hulu. People are escaping their lives all over the place. Some of us are trying to connect. Some of us are trying to change the world, at least for our wife and kids. So, Rise Week, what I'd like you to do is get on the phone and call me. I'll tell you a little bit more about Rise Week. It's hard for me to explain all that's going to happen in 4 days, but what I can tell you is I left out of recovery with a desire to build the best thing in the world for men who have struggled and faced the challenges we have. Whether you're still struggling with the behavior or the emotions or not, Rise Week will strengthen you. And the other things I'm about to share will keep that going on as long as you need. Rise Week will also be a focus to help you be the source of healing in your marriage. At this point, I've worked with thousands of hours with wives who have had their hearts broken, betrayed, trauma. Many of those women faced trauma before us, their husbands. And what I've been very fortunate to learn from them is how to create safety, and take that safety and how to build trust, and take that trust and how to build connection, and how to take that connection to repair the other areas. For most of you, the sexual component needs repair, the emotional component, the spiritual component. When you're connected, you can parent better, you can handle finances better, you can balance life's demands better. I believe you want to come through for her. I believe you want to meet her needs because you love her. But it's not always easy. I mean, think about it. Who taught you how to be a husband? Who taught you how to be a father? Who taught us how to be men? Some of you will say, my dad was pretty good. Him and my wife had it together. Most of you will say, you didn't have that. Some of you will say, I saw that. But did you actively get taught how to do it? Were you shown how to do it? And even if you were you taught how to do it for your wife? You see, women aren't all the same. They all have different needs at different times. There's some skills, some techniques we have that allow us to come through no matter the time of year. Fall, winter, spring, summer, time of the month, whatever. We can learn how to connect all the time and come through for them and trust that they'll come through for us. One of the best gifts you can give your wife and kids is for you to come fully alive and step into the man you're supposed to be. No longer believing I'm just this recovering addict. No longer believing I'm this bad man. You're not. Now, there was a time where legitimately I was a bad father. I loved my kids, but I didn't know how to do it, and I was getting angry all the time. I wasn't bad all the time. But I did things that I wasn't proud of. I'd yell, I'd swat them on the butt, whatever, right? And it's not okay. But I made changes. I'm not that anymore, and I haven't been for a long while. Why am I going to keep carrying all that negative? That only holds me back. So, if this is making sense, come to Rise Week. There's one every month. You'll see this on the page. But I have a special offer for you because we've worked together in the past. There's a guy in Huntington Beach where I actually got this idea. He's not a therapist, but he was putting together this cool week. And I was like, that's what I got to do. 4 days intensive where men get their strength. They get trained on how to do their marriages and their parenting. But that week alone is not enough. That's an amazing start to break through. Honestly, what's going to happen in those 4 days took me 7 years to get. I wouldn't build it and offer it if I didn't think I could help you do it. 4 days. You know what? It took me a long time. A year of EMDR. It took me 40 sessions of neurofeedback. It took me, I spent another $7,500 learning and then going through some of this change around the unconscious thought, breaking through the emotions. At this point in my own healing therapeutically, I've spent better part of 30 grand. In my education, training and things, I've probably close to 200,000 seeking out these answers. Because it's worth it. This family. You fight for family. Many of you have heard me say whatever it takes as long as it takes, and I was committed to that. I didn't think it would take 8 freaking years and a lot of money. But it was worth it. Because I do have the life I want now. I am happy. I'm confident. I know who I am. Am I everywhere I want to be? No. I got about 30 pounds to lose again. And I'll do it. Because I know I can. My marriage is happy. That's what matters. My kids are happy. That's what matters. So, Rise Week, 4 days. Oh, the dude in Huntington Beach charges 10 grand a person for 4 days. So what I decided to do was build my own, add a lot of cool stuff to it, and charge half the price. And for you, I'm going to give you a past client discount of $1,000. And if you get in touch with me in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to give you another $1,000 off. You come to Rise Week for 3 grand, but then you get lifetime of the next 2 things. And I don't think you'll need anything else ever again. That's why they're built. And I'm giving you lifetime because you've done work in the past. So after you come to Rise Week, you join Legion. This is the Rise Brotherhood. This is not a group of men connected by their addictions, right? You've been there. I was there. I liked it. It was nice. It was the blind leading the blind. I get on these Facebook groups sometimes, 55,000 men, all like, we're going to be better men. And I see like 30 answers to a dude's question, and I therapeutically know every one of those answers is wrong. The blind leading the blind is not a good system. We need men who have walked the road showing us the way. I've sought out men who have overcome addictions, learned from them. Men who have built happy marriages, been great fathers. I've sought from them, how do I do this thing? They're out there. When you're in the addiction community, it feels like nobody heals. Guess what? People overcome addiction all the time. You look at the research of the 70s and the Vietnam War, and everybody was freaking high. Those people didn't stay high forever. People overcome addictions all the time. It doesn't feel that way when you're in a recovery community focusing on addiction every day. Those things are helpful, but I wanted freedom. I didn't want to sit in a group forever when I could be with my wife and kids. go to the group and come home stronger for the family. Cool. But if you're not addicted anymore, quit saying you're an addict. If you're not angry anymore, quit letting that hold you back forever and defining you. Well, that was a little more ranty than I wanted it to be. Legion. The way Legion works is we get on there, the group, the 20 of you that come, and then when the next 20 come, they come on there, and the next 20, they come on there. And so the brotherhood comes on. I'll do a live video for an hour, 2 hours, whatever we need for the week. I'll do Q&A. I'll get on there with one of you and we'll work through your stuff. I'll get on there with one of you and your wives and we'll work through your stuff. Everybody can have access to it. If you can't make it live, we'll record it and make it available to you. We use a platform that allows the brotherhood to connect every day. I'll get on there and post something nice that we can discuss. You guys can post things and we'll connect. This is not connection of help me out of this place I'm in because I suck. This is a mindset of I'm becoming an elite man, and never in the history of the world have men fought battles alone. We've done it, right? We've fought addiction by ourselves. We've fought for our marriages by ourselves. And the tendency is for us to keep going back to that. I didn't want to build in a recovery group. I wanted to build a group of men united by what they are after, their commitment to marriage and family. When you come to Legion, you get to be a part of something bigger than yourself. Some days you will need strength and you will get it. Other days you will give strength. You get lifetime membership to Legion. Normally that's a, $200 a month thing. You get that for free for coming to Rise Week, and you get it forever. There's more details than that you'll learn about as well, but I don't want to go over that in the video. The next thing is the Daily Rise. Daily Rise is cool. It's a platform that I've been working on with my brother-in-law, who's a developer, that allows me to pull content from YouTube, Vimeo. I can do, you're going to laugh at me, memes, GIFs, images, whatever I want to send you from the internet. I can send direct to your text message. You don't even need a browser or a YouTube app. The idea is I can reach to you, because we all know to reach, but we don't do it, right? Like what was happening was people are having a great therapy session and they feel unmotivated, and then they come back a week later and nothing's changed because they go back to life and they feel crummy and they don't do the work that helps them progress. So I got this idea for the app, and it was like, people need more. They need daily strength sometimes. And if you're in a crappy spot, you're not going to open an app and click through and try to help yourself. We don't tend to do that. So this allows me to reach to you. Every morning when you wake up, there's a message from me. A clip that's meant to shift your emotions. So you wake up groggy, you wake up anxious, you wake up depressed, turned on, whatever. This helps you get into a centered state. We do this in various ways. It's not the same every day, but it's a combination of a video clip. Maybe it's a song, some music I'm able to send to you. It might be a little message from me. Most of the time, there will be a guided meditation based on the principles of attachment-focused EMDR and something called mental and emotional release. These two techniques can help you shift state instantly. You can go from feeling anxious to feeling strong instantly. Okay, relatively instantly, a few minutes. The idea is every morning you wake up and you get into power. You face the day with power. You go into it feeling on top of your game. You interact with your wife and your kids from strength. You go to work from strength. You feel on top of your game. Then I send you another message later in the afternoon, maybe 3:34. It's there for you when you get off work. The idea is to get back into state. You had a rough day at work. You whatever, had a rough day at work, and you need to go home, and your wife had a rough day, and it gets you in tune with how to create the evening you want. I know you love her. I know you love your kids. So you get into state and you think through what's going to play out. I'm going to walk in the door. I'm going to hug my kids. I'm going to wrestle. I'm going to ask her how her day was. I'm going to take over with the baby. I'm going to cook dinner, whatever. I'm going to pick up the toys, whatever. You're going to be elite. You're going to be engaged. I'm just going to give you a little bit of, hey, think about this. This is probably going to be helpful. You're going to think, I would like this, some time to myself. I would like to have sex. I would like to talk about finances, whatever. Before you just jump into it, you're going to strategize a little bit. You're going to think of their needs. This is the first part of the daily rise, this daily thing that if you do daily, it will shift your whole neurology. This isn't meant to be coping like mindfulness. This is meant to go a level deeper where it changes the way you think. It changes the way you feel. So mindfulness is, I feel really crappy. I'm going to be aware of it. I'm going to be mindful of it and try to get to peace. What this is all about is, I'm going to get ahead of the game and feel how I want to feel before I'm a victim to some other thought or feeling that I don't want. You take charge of it. You're in control. In the future, Rise Week will allow us to do a lot of other things. I'll give what we call tracks, guidance on specific areas of life. It might be specific addiction overcoming. It might be rebuilding trust. It might be rebuilding intimacy. These tracks that, in addition to the morning and the evening mood altering in a positive way, you're going to get some guidance on what to do. There'll be things like, hey, Valentine's is coming up. Think of your wife. Different things. It'll be cool. And to be honest, you guys get to help build that. You're going to give me input like what to build next. But the plan is we're going to build a more robust app over the next year that can help hundreds of thousands of people get their lives back on track, repair their marriages. That's the goal. And you men who have been fighting, I want your help with that. Rise Week, the Daily Rise, my goal with that is better help than a year of therapy for less than the price of one therapy session. The value of this is, it's honestly meant to be more valuable than if you were to see me every single week. I'm excited for it. And I'm excited for you to help me know what to do with it. As I have my ideas because I'm me, but you're you. And the more we can think of helping more people, the better it's going to get. So I'm excited for that. So just to recap, we're going here. This is called the Rise. We are the Rise. An elite group of men who are not defined by our past, who overcome our struggles, and become the men, the husbands and fathers we are meant to be. It doesn't matter where you are. You can get up here. And I think you can get there quicker than you think. Some of you are going, Austin, I'm good. We got it together. Cool. I know you know someone. You and I know that when you've recaptured your life, you want to share it with others. So, if you send this to someone else, you become a partner with me, and I pay you. You refer one person, I give them $1,000 off, because they're your friend, and I will pay you $500. All I care about is helping people fix their families. I lost my dad to his addiction. I almost lost my son and my wife to my own. Join me in changing this whole game, helping men become the men they're supposed to be. Many, many men struggle, and they cause their wives to struggle, and they cause their kids to struggle. A lot of you know that a big source of your struggle was your dad. Even if he was a cool guy that loved you, he too probably didn't know how to meet your needs. There's reasons for that too that you'll learn about. So, if you're okay and don't come to Rise Week, in the next while, the Daily Rise will be available to you. Legion will also be available to you. But my invitation is to come to Rise Week. I honestly don't care what you've done up to this point or what you're doing. I'm confident enough to say drop it. Brene Brown's Connections, drop it. What's it called? Mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, drop it. You're going to 12-step, drop it. You're going to SA, anger management recovery, I don't know what they call that, I can't remember. Drop it. Come to Rise Week, join Legion, get on the Daily Rise, and become who you're supposed to be. And then go. Live life. Love your wife, love your kids. The Rise is here to strengthen you to the degree you need. Okay, so, Rise Week. 4 days. Legion. Lifetime. The Daily Rise. Lifetime. I don't know the value. I know someone else is charging $10K for something not as good as that. I know if you went to group therapy, which this is going to be better and more direct than group therapy, that's $200 a month. You get lifetime, so I don't know, do the math. The Daily Rise, we make that inexpensive, but honestly that's going to be an invaluable tool. You get lifetime. Normal price for all of it, $5,000. For you, $3,000. Can you even see that? $3,000. I'm not a salesman. I'm a therapist. I'm a man who loves his wife and loves his children. I care about you. I hope that you feel that I was trying to fight for you. I didn't always know what to do, but I have not forgotten you. I looked at your name in my phone and I typed it in to this platform called Ascendium. I looked at your name and I decided, this guy fought hard. Let's give him a leg up. Because this is beginning, I can only accept 15 men for the first few months until we can get a place that I can have 20 and then 30. So there's only 10 spots available for past clients for me to be able to do it at that price and 5 at the 5,000. So call me. That extra 1,000 is if you get in touch with me before December 15th. Rise Week, the dates are listed below. January 23rd through 26th. We'll begin with a 4-week pre-training to help you make the most of it. Everything I know about helping your marriage heal will be in 2 training modules, and then you'll get 4 weeks of pre-training and assessments to see where you are and where you're going. I don't want to cut out your wife, but in most of our situations, if we get our stuff together, they begin to heal. And if they don't automatically begin to, I'm going to give you the tools to help her. Worst case scenario, There's a process for her. If you're doing this stuff, there's a process for her that you'll learn about and she'll learn about in the training modules. One day, she spends one day with me or a therapist that is trained the way I want them to be trained. And she'll break through the shame too. She'll break past the fear, the anger, the insecurity, whatever, the sadness. And she'll be able to be on a path of healing with you. One day. I'm not making stuff up. I wouldn't put this out there if I didn't know it was possible. And you might need a little more couples therapy, but probably not much. Please get on the phone, fill out this application, and I don't even care. Just get on the phone with me, and we'll talk about where you're at, where you're ready to go to. I've been to dark places. That isn't about pain. That stopped for me. It's about joy. Man, we fought so hard. And to get to a place where it's happy, where I know my kids are going to get from me what they need, what I didn't get, to know that me and my wife are going to make it. Like, there was a long stretch there. I didn't know. There was a time where she wasn't willing to have another kid with me. And, man, rough, long go there. But to be in this place of happiness, to have found myself and to feel good, is all worth it. And I'm excited that you can get there quicker than it took me. So, like, even if you're watching, you're like, awesome, whatever, just text me. Like, let me know how you are. We went through some stuff together. And I wasn't able to share all the things I was going through because I was helping. But, like, you were a part of my journey. I learned from you. You coming to see me gave me strength to keep fighting. There were days where I remember fighting with my wife, driving to my office. And I was like, what the frick? I'm a couples therapist. I'm going to help these people when we're a mess. And what was interesting is I could help because I wasn't emotional. I cared about your situation, but I wasn't emotional because it wasn't my situation. It wasn't affecting me negatively. So I could give you pretty good advice and help you connect and things. And what's interesting is so many times as you're saying something to me or I'm saying something to you, I'm going, that's for me. That's what I need to do. That's what I need to work on. So you were a part of my journey, and I thank you for that. And I hope that the part I played in your journey isn't done. Let's keep going. Let's get to the top. You deserve it, my friend. I know your stuff, and I can tell you you're one of the best men I know. I know your stuff. You're one of the best men I know because you're fighting. You're trying. Some of you may have gotten divorced since I saw you last. Call me. Come to Rise Week. Your kids need you. Even if you're not married to that same woman, you'll likely get married again. Wherever you are, let's keep going. Don't fall into the tendency to try to do it on your own. That's what we do. We try to fight battles alone. Again, men in the past were wise. They went to war together. When we fight alone, we lose. Come join me. Be the Rise and join this legion of men who are taking back their lives and taking back their marriages. That's it. You want it still. Let's go get it. I hope to hear from you soon. Somewhere near the beginning of December, You'll start getting messages from me again. So if you haven't, save that number. You need to save it so you can watch videos right in your text message inbox. Save that number and you're going to start getting a 30-day free trial of the Daily Rise. Let me know how it helps. Let me know if it strengthens you. Let me know what it needs to be more effective for you. My brothers, I hope to hear from you soon. Any questions? Anything I can help with? I'm here. And what I can tell you is you can get where you want to go. Not a single one of you was in a worse spot than me. Not a single one of you. Your marriage isn't and wasn't more broken than mine. You weren't in more shame. You weren't more addicted than me. Some of you were right there with me, but none of you were more. And what I can tell you is we can get there. And I can say that with confidence because I'm there. And I've been there for a while. You can too. Let's go.